Kia ora, and welcome to the Beer Jerk Beer Club Drink Along. I'm Joe.
I'm Luke.
And this is Wild Thing Number 1 by Three Sisters.
Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Three of my favourite things in this beer. It's one of my favourite breweries, absolutely. Three Sisters are awesome. It's a table beer. I don't know if you've heard of table beers. You're going to learn a little bit more about them, but they are glorious. And interesting yeast.
Yeah.
Unique yeast that's been developed by a small startup New Zealand lab. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, I gave you a tiny bit of extra yeast since
Oh,
you're
yeah?
such a fan.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, you can just see the yeast sediment floating around. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's a very cool development in brewing that there's a commercially available wild yeast strain now.
Yeah.
So previously, for beers to come out like this, you sort of need to, cool ship them, let the breeze and the natural air sort of flow over your beer, so that any yeast or lovely things can sort of settle into it, and then you allow it to ferment through that. So they've kind of done that. However, it was an air trap, and they trapped and then propagated and have this new wilding yeast that home brewers, regular brewers can all use.
Yeah. So yesterday in our Advent drink-alongs, we're drinking a beer with Brettanomyces. So I suppose in the same world as that, that it's a kind of it's not a traditional brewer's yeast that's used here. But when we talk about tradition, that's only going back, couple of hundred years that people have used these, clean brewer's yeasts. Because of course before that it was, as Joe says, just whatever falls into the sugary water, whether that be apple juice for cider, grape juice for wine, or wort, which is brewed molten water, would ferment it into a beer. But this is from FrothTech, who are doing the first all New Zealand yeasts. But this is a yeast that was capturing the wilds around Wellington, right?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, and it's very cool that they even sort of wanted to do it, let alone were able to, because it's something that a lot of brewers fear. You don't want to let these uncontrollable things sort of run rampant in your brewery. Otherwise, every beer is going to come out tasting funky and, ever so slightly sour and all these sort of lovely esters that yeast like this kick off. But if you can do it in a controlled way, clean your tanks, it's all gone. It was only sort of one strain, I think the Saccharomyces. It's the same as a lager yeast or the same as an ale yeast now, but you can get a sort of wild, funky product.
And you are getting it. It's spritzy, it's zesty, it's lively. It's the yeast is doing the heavy lifting in this beer. It's got lovely, I think it's Citra hops.
Yeah, it's I think single hop Citra. But when you have a nice light body like this, and the yeast is likely to kick off some sort of citrusy character, then a hop like Citra is perfect just to accentuate that.
And that's the wonderful thing about using interesting yeasts that have more character, or more phenols, or more esters. You can use them in all kinds of beer, and they do a lot. You get a lot of bang for your buck, and especially in beers like this that are lower in alcohol. It's only 3.2%, but it's a full flavour experience.
Yeah, and it's so satisfying, and it's so complex that you really will sip it over time. And it's not just something to smash like a lager, but it's exciting development, and hopefully we see Wild Thing number 2 from Three Sisters soon. Cause,
hopefully it becomes a proper series.
They brew an amber beer and use that yeast. I wonder what could happen there. We could get some kind of light Oud Bruin or something delicious like that. But,
so many possibilities.
Yeah,
awesome. And table beer is it's what it sounds like, beer for the table. So historic Belgian style, and it's now kind of like an umbrella style. So you may know, but us at Small Gods, we do a whole series of table beers named for characters from Arthurian legend, Knights of the Round Table. And it's a beer that's designed to be drinkable and accompany meals. It is 10:15 a.m. here, so I'm not even halfway through my breakfast yet. So perfect meal accompaniment beer.
Yeah, it's like there's brands of kombucha that are 3.2%, and you wouldn't shirk at a kombucha with brunch.
Exactly. Yeah. Ideal breakfast beer for the day of our Christmas party. Getting into it early. So the brewery, Three Sisters, there's a lovely little award here. They were the champion small international brewery at the Australian International Beer Awards. But yeah, these guys pick up awards left and right at the Brewers Guild and whatever they enter into, because they make cracking beers. So it's Joe, who's the founder and head brewer there, and his partner Sarah that he started Three Sisters with, and they've seen huge developments in the last few years. They've done 2-3 crowdfunds, I think.
I think the most recent one ended very recently, didn't it?
Yeah, and they've raised millions from the community to scale their brewery and their operations and build their awesome brew pub, which is in Taranaki in New Plymouth, in this really beautiful, it's an old bank building. It's a really, really cool spot to visit. So excited to see what they're going to, where they're going to go next. I think there was something going to focus on doing some exporting, which would be fun to see. Beers like this getting to, places like China and Japan would be really cool. And just really eclectic, right? They do interesting beers.
Yeah, they're not a formulaic brewery by any means. It's a lot of really great sort of hazies. They also do banging West Coast IPAs. They have a series of best bitters. They do this. Their lager's phenomenal. So yeah, just sort of hit all notes. Pastry stouts, pastry sours.
They're the banana milkshake beer we had in the fridges a few weeks ago. But you just poured like a banana milkshake with banana seeds. It was just so, and not a Nesquik either, like a thick shake.
Yeah.
And yeah, some of their like chocolate imperial stouts. And,
yeah. No, they're a really great brewery to feature. We always keep an eye on what they're releasing. Sort of similar to us, well, similar to Small Gods. It's like you have to kind of approach them sometimes because it's like, hey guys, haven't heard from you in a while. What do you have?
Yeah, and it's we've got this smoked Rybok.
Yeah. So yeah, always trying to keep their beers in our fridges. And yeah, when they mentioned that this would be a possibility, when I was asking about a beer of the week, I thought that would be a great feature because it's such a cool yeast and such a cool development in New Zealand brewing. Yeah,
and just really, really awesome, lovely people. A couple of years ago, we did a Small Gods collaboration with them. We made a Dandelion and Burdock historical porter, which was just a really delicious reminiscence for us English expats of the tasty flavours of Dandelion and Burdock soft drink, but we made it into a beer. So that was really good fun. So a place to visit when you're on your summer holidays. And visiting Taranaki. There's a whole bunch of good beer around there. There's Doug at the Theoretical Brewer. It's a really small operation. Does some really good stuff. Of course, the Shining Peak. But Three Sisters, absolute superstars, doing great stuff. So thank you for joining us. Anything to add?
No.
We'll see you next time. Great work. Cheers.
Cheers.